heard.
When you say giving money to fishermen, for what reason?
Well, for damages they may have had, lost revenue and stuff like that. Right.
Sure.
What I've heard recently on the news was reports of people saying that they had some residual effects. People who worked at beach resorts and things of that nature, saying that they had there was sea spray that was coming in, leaving oily residue. Does BP have any contingency for any damages that might occur from that?
So with regards to health, personal health?
Right, long-term things that weren't immediately determined.
So that's why we just gave a grant to the National Institute of Health, so that they can do that kind of survey. They're going to go out and meet with everyone who has worked on the oil spill. They're going to talk to.
But I don't mean like workers. I've heard just people.
And the public, the general public as well. They're going to go to the public as well.
If, let's say, what I've heard is a guy who had a business where they rented beach umbrellas and chairs and those types of things, and his workers were reporting that there was oily residue on the chairs and the umbrellas and things like that. So is there a contingency for these people to come back later and say, okay, I think we may have some health damages or some health effects, or we might have some damage to our equipment from this spray that didn't
Equipment related that impacts your business, it's a legitimate claim. You can file a claim for that. Anything related to health, to a time limit? Feinberg just released a date that you do have to turn something. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's on his website, the date that he published. Yeah.
It's in November.
One date is November, then there's another date in February. So there are two different dates. But it is on his website. But there is a time limit for when you need to file.
The bacteria.
A new claim.
Okay.
The bacteria that they have discovered, the new bacteria that's supposed to be in, that they never knew existed, that's eating all, is that something that y'all researching to see what type of bacteria? It's a new bacteria that they were talking about that they recently discovered that's deteriorating all rats. It's always disappearing because it's this new enzymes or whatever it is that Mother Nature is fighting back with. Have y'all researched what type of bacteria? I mean, if it had a fact that Mother Nature has bacteria that's working that well, and we may want to copy that.
I know, yeah. That actually was BP research.
Okay.
While there are already a whole series of bacteria known in the Gulf that actually help the oil to biodegrade. I think a more accurate way to describe what this research has found is it is reproduced more rapidly and is degrading the oil faster than most people thought that it would initially. Because we already knew that this was going to happen. This always happens. In fact, it's pretty clear that we use these bacteria in all kinds of applications to help biodegrade not only oil but other products as well. But it actually is working faster. And the other thing is that it is actually requiring less oxygen, so there's less oxygen depletion than normally we find when the bacteria starts to reproduce rapidly. First thing it does is it sucks a lot of oxygen out of the water, the dissolved oxygen. And it's not doing that at the same rate that most people thought. So it's changed the calculation a little bit on how fast the oil is degrading, as well as how we've monitored. The important thing that I think happens here is working with NOAA. And NOAA did a lot of this work, EPA did some of this work. We really set out to monitor how well the oil was degrading, how the dispersants worked, and we had a couple of things that we looked at. One was dissolved oxygen, because we know that that's a very good indicator of the biodegradation that takes place within the oil plume. And at first we were not seeing the dissolved oxygen rates drop as much as we thought. That would tend to indicate that the oil is not biodegrading. The bacteria discovery shows us that the oil is actually degrading, the oxygen is just not dropping as much. So, but it's good that we collected a lot of data, and they're continuing to collect that data.